Welcome to the Dark Whisper Stories channel, a place where we delve deep into the eerie, the mysterious, and the captivating realms of storytelling. This channel is dedicated to bringing you stories that intrigue and enchant, whether they are tales of suspense, supernatural events, or classic eerie folklore. Our stories are woven with rich imagery and immersive narratives, designed to take you on a journey to the unknown. The windows are frozen and it's winter. Outside, the white as snow falls steadily provides a striking contrast to the soft blackness of a blast of ice in the night sky. The window rustles softly in the wind. Pain Sophia wears a similar unicorn pajama and sits cross-legged in bed, encircled by her favorite stuffed animals and blankets with a beautiful pink pattern. She is holding her beloved plush dinosaur in her lap. Bunny's eyes stray to the window as she observes the whirling snowfall, seeing the world covered with white snow. Heaven in the... Her parents have already given her a good kiss this morning. After turning out the lights at night, her room is now dimly lighted by a moth-shaped night light to maintain the darkness at bay and offer a comfortable haven. Sophia sighs in comfort and gives her a tight hug. Bunny as she moves beneath several layers of her bunny and the blankets settling into their weight. She closes her arm in the crook, eyes trying to contain her enthusiasm for the upcoming day as she permits her physique to have a perfect night, unwind regardless the situation. Slumber feels a bit. Her thoughts is racing with restlessness. Pastime that helps her relax, picturing a meadow full with. Isn't the secret to falling sheep? When her brother experienced sleepless nights, her parents would often advise him to. He would be gone in a matter of seconds after counting fields of sheep. Minutes, but in her fictitious meadow. Instead of a sheep jumping over a single file line fence, cows are grazing there as well, leisurely beneath the stars that she wants to, trotting across the hills with a pet and horses. How could she possibly calculate the number of times she wants to ride sheep when there's so much more fascinating stuff to? She opens her mouth in frustration, eyes and lets out a heavy. Maybe her imagination was too thrilling for her to take a breath. Perhaps she could ask her parents about counting sheep. They always knew what to do when asked for advice. Do they appear to have a response for, like how to handle it when she puts gum in her hair, or fasten her shoes to prevent her from tripping over the lace? Sophia emerges from beneath her pink patal. She puts her feet in her fuzzy teddy bear and covers them. Slippers that give her a cozy embrace while holding her teddy rabbit in her arms. Tiptoes silently down the hallway. Quiet on the cushion, she stops outside her brother's carpet. A harsh, regular snore sweeps around the room. She laughs and rolls her eyes out. He always makes fun of her for having identical pink jammies, but she is eager to question him about his. She approaches her parents at the end of the corridor while snoring. A thin sliver of warm air is visible in the room where the door is slightly cracked open. The door is softly pushed open by the light that spills into the dim hallway. She opens it, looks inside, and sees her mother curled on her side beneath a heavy wool blanket with a glum look on her face when she quietly slumbers, her chest rising and falling gently, but her father is still. He is resting on some pillows while he is awake. He stared at a big, hardcover book that he was certain was filled with a lot of fancy words and no images, with a small reading light fastened to the book's binding. Book gives the pages a gentle light, positioned to avoid disturbing her mother with the light. The father of Sleepopia looks up as he sees her tiny form in his face in the doorway, transforms into a kind grin that provides immediate. She moves across the room to his side of the room with ease and without reluctance. Bed, holding her stuffed rub bit tightly in her. He asks, "Hold on, why aren't you sleeping, honey?" His brows wrinkled in wonder as he spoke softly and soothingly. He uses a bookmark to mark the page in his book and sets it aside from offering his daughter his whole. "I attempted to go to sleep, but I tried counting sheep, but I couldn't," she whispers back urgently, distracted. Her voice could not be heard above the roaring wind. Her father's smile expands beyond. "Perhaps a bedtime story is necessary, so let's see what we can do." He swings his legs over the side and carefully pulls back the covers, edge of the bed and into his personal woolen garments. He stands in his slippers and takes her little hand in his bigger one before to guiding her out of the. His warm, reassuring touch stabilizes her in the room. Cool her restless fingers earlier. Now, excitement for nighttime has taken the place of frustration. Narrative while they return to her. Sophia leaps onto her bed in the bedroom and pulls the covers tightly about her in a comfortable cocoon while her dad looks through her wooden. His hand slides across the spines of the well-organized bookshelves. Books. He tilts his head slightly to look at the titles. Let's listen to his thoughts out loud before he takes out a book with a bright fish encircled by a multicolored reef on the. What about telling a tale about a fish that uses his? He smiles and holds up the book for her to see, asking his friends. Sophia scrunches up and shakes her head. The novel has been read by her too many times to count. I want something different, she replies. I know that one. He laughs as he puts the book back in its place. Defiantly okay. Locate and squats to peruse the shelf. Below, he briefly weighs his alternatives before taking out a book. On the leaf, with a green caterpillar wriggling. What about a narrative about a hungry? This time, Caterpillar Sophia shakes her head more forcefully. Moment, not even bothering to glance at the cover because it's so dull. Says, I'm looking for something that involves adventure and mythical creatures. Her father stands up straight and looks at her, raising his eyebrows in. It will be challenging for you to encounter mythical creatures and unexpected adventures. Fall asleep if the tale is too thrilling, he asks with a light-hearted gleam in. For the third time, she shakes her head in his eyes. She raises herself on her pillows so she may gaze at him. No, I believe it will be similar to mental exercise. Reasons why it will grow weary if it is exerting itself to visualize the story. Her father laughs once again, and I can't dispute with that reasoning. Before returning to the bookshelf adventure and mythological tale, he remarks. Animals that he trails off while he looks at the titles. He picks out a book at a slow pace and hums to himself. What about a dragon and a towering castle on the cover? Princess Reina's stories and her castle in the. Sophia raises her head to look at the clouds, which sound intriguing enough. The cover, her eyes expanding in delight at the vibrant. She raises her head in an artwork of a floating castle. The father sits excitedly on the edge of the bed, with the mattress tucked beneath his weight while hiding beneath the blankets with a big smile on her face. Putting on his reading glasses, he smiles as he opens the. He pretends to sit up and clear his throat in the book. Immediately before he starts in a calm and clear. A voice from a long time ago in a distant land. A castle is situated far from livestock pastures and the fortress is not attached to the wheat fields. Instead, it freely floats through the. The kingdom of the sky is made up of plumes of clouds, bird flocks, and even dragons that inhabit the Empyrean, and it is solely directed by the direction of the wind, similar to how a ship sails the ocean. As it moves through the sky, the castle in the sky. Sophia is already enthralled with the word construction of the clouds. Closing her eyes, her imagination creates a vibrant. She had an image in her head of the castle with the stars surrounding it. Twisted spires that pierce the surrounding clouds, surrounded by flocks of vibrant, free-flying birds and powerful dragons glide. The scales of the clouds shimmering aimlessly about the cloud forms. Her father's calming voice, like gems in the moonlight. Within the castle's gates is a young princess who is destined to. Reina Longs, the princess of the throne, is adventurous and, despite never having set foot on the ground, she is enthralled by the world below. The Earth's surface, her parents always assert that she is far safer in the sky, away from the miseries of the world. But Princess Reina wants to travel the world now that she's older, studying the languages and cultures of Earth in order to eventually travel. Sophia's globe depicts Princess Reina as an inquisitive and unyielding girl similar to. She sees herself wearing a pastel and having black hair that is curly. Gown Sophia immediately connects with the. On the 13th birthday of the princess, her father reads a character. On her birthday, she gets a baby. Her parents advise her that if she can domesticate the animal and learn to She will be permitted to see the world if she can fly. Princess Reina below instantly becomes devoted to the feathered. Spent all of her time with the hippogriff, whom she gave the name Rose, due to the reddish feather that encircles his mane. Rose feathers develop swiftly and rapidly, sufficient for him to remain in the princess's stable, which she has especially designed to fit him. The hippogriff looks natural in Sophia's fantasy with the fluffy feathers of his large golden eyes are white and iridescent pink eyes, and tracks Princess Reina all the way through her castle that she envisions when she matures. Because of her enormous rose-colored wings, he can soar with the dragons and birds through the quietly fades Sophia's father's voice disappear as she devotes herself entirely to the narrative, slipping more into her, so vivid in her mind that she doesn't even acknowledge that she has fallen. She is no longer curled up in her bed while she sleeps. Rather, she is wearing a pastel blue gown that gleams in the moonlight, and her silk-covered feet, slippers that don't produce noise while she walks around the magnificent marble carvings of swirling clouds in the halls of the Cloud Castle. One side of the walls is adorned with clouds and glittering stars. The opposite side of the hall are arches that display the clouds' vastness. Rolling fields of white clouds and powder in the kingdom. Soaring birds that fly in and out of cotton dot the horizon. Musical arrangements. Sophia gazes up at the stars, gleaming against the night's velvet blue. When she sees Dart, a shooting star, her breath catches in her throat. By creating a sparkling trail of stardust that persists for a little period before a quiet voice from behind murmurs, evaporating, "You must be Princess Sophia." She turns in surprise to meet Reina, who wears a pink satin to wow poise and Rigo. Her dark brown clothing shimmers when she moves. Her hair falls down her back with ease, revealing a tiny silver. Beside her, the enormous hippogriff wears a tiara on top of her head. His rosy feathers ruffling, stands obediently, a little windy as he inspected Safia with golden. "Welcome to the Cloud Kingdom, eyes," says Reina, when she spreads her arms wide and gives a bright smile. Sophia is momentarily perplexed before she collects her, recognizes and tries her hardest to curtsy, getting a laugh from. As Reina falters a little, "I'll show you your." Reina, the princess of the quarters, loops her arm in. She is led down the castle by Sophia. She is led through the marble by halls Sophia, walls that have to do with the fresh air and elaborate. A sensation of tranquility is created by the decor, even in spite of the light breeze. Sophia doesn't feel anything as she enters through the open windows. Instead of being frigid, a cozy warmth descends. They go through hallways that are decorated with enchanted artwork. Cloud dragons are flaming beasts. Iridescent unicorns and phoenixes painted in stunning detail the arching lets in moonlight. Windows casting an ethereal glow over the hallways. Princess Reina pauses in front of a magnificent wooden door featuring celestial sculptures carved on it. Surface, "I hope you enjoy this room, which is reserved for our most esteemed guests." Reina explains it before opening revealing a bedroom through twin doors that embodies the image of the St stars. In the room's center is a big wooden bed that rustles in the sunlight and has a shimmering canopy. The bed is surrounded by a soft velvet wind, covers flecked with tiny gems to resemble the stars. The walls are lined with sky shelves that are filled with books with exquisite leather covers and additional tiny treasures, but the best aspect by the glass ceiling at a distance provides an unobstructed view. When lying in bed, looking up at the night sky, Sophia is now quite eager to go to sleep in the room, but she's about to jump right in. Reina shifts her focus back to the bed. "Before you head off for the day, put a hand on her arm." "Night, I want to do something first," she replies, her brown eyes glimmering. The princess looks expectantly at a serene pink hippogriff with its strong wings neatly folded. Reina strokes his gray beak at his flanks. With a faint chirping sound, the beast nuzzles into her touch. "Rose Feather and I have been training together for a while, and I believe we are." Kingdom Bra states, "We are prepared for our first flight outside of the cloud." Gently before glancing at Sophia and getting a cheeky flush. Smile, I want you to come. Sophia is too shocked to answer, isn't she? Gone, but eventually her senses return, and she becomes bright with. You really want me to accompany you? She asks in A. As she smiles broadly, Reyna says, of course you know so much about the... I would be honored if you could come to the planet below. As she genuinely explains, Sophia senses her heart. Her chest swells as she enthusiastically accepts the kind offer. She looks at the golden feathers of Rose. Gaze as he seems to evaluate her personality. A second later, he emits a low trail, lowering his head a little in approbation. Reyna loops her arm after grinning at the exchange. Again through Sophia's and guiding her out of the castle to the staples that seems to have been constructed recently. The wood panel walls inside have added a pleasant and welcoming feel. Environment, the pungent aroma of grain and hay permeates the Rose Feather travels straight to one of the empty stools in the air. He stumps his hoofs in the area close to the rear of the stable. Hey, Reyna demonstrates to Sophia how to delicately feather a rose. Sophia carefully moves toward the surface to wipe him of any dust or grime. Rose Feather, a huge bird-horse hybrid, observes her, curiously and intently clicking his beak, but he lets Sophia stroke. He even leans into her touch with the feathers around his neck. The initial anxiety of Sophia dissolves into joy when she softly strokes the wings of the roses. She rubs her fingers through his feathers on his flank, admiring how smooth and velvety they feel under her touch. It seems like he likes you, Reyna says with a sincere face as she tries to brush his other side. Gaining his trust typically requires some time and admiration. She says she is surprised by her hippogriff's kind demeanor toward Sophia. Exudes self-assurance and revels in the coziness of the commonplace noise of the hay moving underneath and the sporadic. The air is filled with Rose Feather's chirp as, in silence, the two females express gratitude for one another's. The feathered is finished being brushed by the two girls. Creature, after which Reyna applies a personalized pseudo on Rose's feathers. It has intricate cloud carvings on the back and is composed of premium leather. S and stars inscribed on it. Accents of silver on the surface shimmer in the warm. The staple's glow emits a mystical. The females use their combined might to fasten the saddle in. Verify the straps and buckles to make sure the Rose Feather is. Rose Feather, feeling at ease, eagerly stomps his hoofs while stretching out his enormous. He lowers his head with his wings, enabling Reyna to fasten the bridle to his. The princess puts her foot into the rein while holding her head in her hands. The stirrup and repeatedly raises her leg. With ease, his back sank into the Sado. Sophia watches in amazement as the princess appears incredibly regal, sits atop the pink-feathered hippogriff, seemingly at home. Sophia smiles there, certain that she will always remember the picture, even though this is only a... Reyna, the dream princess, reaches out to. Accepting it, Sophia lets Reyna drag her up onto Rose Feathers. LL's glistening robe cascades over the side of the... Reyna turns and hands Sophia a saddle, strapped to keep herself attached to the Sado and prevent her from coming off. Princess Reyna asks after the flight is ready, leading Rose Feather into the yard from the barn, which, despite Ophia's inability to see, is lit by the moonlight. She could hear the smile on her face. Let's fly, Sophia replies. Reyna is gripping the rein with thrill in her veins, firmly, and whispers an order to Rose before taking a few quick steps ahead, then removing himself from the ground, his wings vigorously pounding with the... When the wind whips against her, Sophia lets out a squeal of joy. She can feel the leather strap on her face and hair. Works diligently to secure her while Rose Feather soars roams the... He travels around the palace's floor till he reaches the tallest spire. Sophia surveys the area in wonder as the hippogriff takes up residence in a stable glide in the direction of the clouds. Sophia observes the castle grounds expanding further, far away with every Rose Feather flap. With their wings, they fly straight into what appears to be a cotton formation. Sophia extends her hand to offer her chocolates, fingers cutting across the velvety surface of the... Suddenly, the cloud Rose Feather dives, and they appear on the... Underneath the cloud's bottom, they observe a scene of tiny villages and towns with snow on the ground. A nearby city's bright lights sparkle in the. Reina acknowledged, "I've never seen the surface of this distance before." Astonishment when she took in the vastness of the. Wondering what it would be like to spend her whole life in the. You have never seen snow because clouds prevent you from ever seeing the surface of the earth. Princess Reina shakes in response to her question. Sophia looks down at the snow with her head buried fields beneath a thought that was growing in her. It seems as though Bro's feather could read Sophia's thinking, since he begins to drop in the direction of a field of. They land in unspoiled snow, the snow crunching beneath the rose feathers in a lovely manner. Sophia's hoofs as he trots to a halt. Sophia responds, "Come on, I'll show you," with a smile as she jumps down from his back. As Reina slowly dismounts, a broad smile appears on her face as soon as her feet touch the recently dropped snow. Sophia collects snow in her palms and then tosses it in a playful manner. Reina has turned back, and they both giggle as she does so. It's really cold when she dives into the white powder, laughs while yelling as she raises piles of rose feather, even likes the snow and trots around in it, happily chirping while he cleans up the snow with his wings. The girls laugh while he applies a layer of cold dust to them. Powder, they stay in the snow a little while longer, having fun and laughing. Sensation before realizing how frigid they are, led back into the rose feather RCK after mounting. They broke through the sky toward the cloud canopy formations and make another lap around the castle before arriving at the. The girls dismount. Rose Row is still bursting with enthusiasm. Remove the flying and insert a feather in the staples. Equipment, they give him a carrot each, and they wish him well. Night while a few employees groom him and get his. Princess Reina stops outside the castle's bed. Sophia's room. "I appreciate your presence, Sophia," she murmurs solemnly as she looks at her new. "I will always cherish the memories we created together, friend. I hope you'll return to see us soon, Sophia, tonight." Grinned and reciprocated the gesture, vowing to come back in the. The princess curtsies in the future gracefully before vanishing down the. Sophia goes inside the visitor bedroom and kicks off her shoes. She glides beneath the heavy robe without even bothering to change out of it. Blankets permitting the burden of the velvet to soothe her and warm her up. As she falls asleep, her eyes stray to the glass ceiling above the. As she lies in bed, she observes the stars shining and twinkling in the realm in which her ideas float like the easing wisps of clouds. Sleeping comes naturally without a commotion, and when she turns her bed and opens her eyes for a brief period of slumber, she acknowledges that she has returned to her stuffed animal and matching unicorn jammies. Rubbit is safe in her embrace and surrounding. These are her comforts, which she knows well. Bedroom, after which she collapses into restful slumber in preparation for meeting her new pals once more in her dreams.